I used to tell Jim, yo, stop letting this direct the video. You direct the video, even though, he had a learning process before he could do it by himself. But that was like a proud moment for me when we did the video. Hey, man, like back in the days on MTV where they show at the bottom the name of the song, the artist, the director, all that shit.
Yeah.
When everybody's name was on this is before we had the Diplomat. So the song was it was my song featuring Freaky Zeke and Joel Santana, directed by Jim Jones. And I'm like, that right there. I wanted everybody to get some shine.
Cameron walked away from power, turned down the CEO spotlight, and secretly built a multi-million-dollar machine that made Dipset rich. Everybody thinks that Cameron wanted to be the boss. Everybody assumes he wanted the fame, the control, and the executive titles that come with building a hip-hop empire. But what he just revealed changes everything we thought we knew about Dipset's business model, music industry power moves, and how generational wealth is really created in hip-hop. See, Cam had direct access to the top executives at Rockefeller Records. He could talk to Jay-Z, Dame Dash, Kareem Biggs Burke, and major label decision makers whenever he wanted to. He had the leverage. He had the influence. He had the ability to position himself as the sole owner, CEO, and financial controller of Dipset. But instead of consolidating the money and ownership under himself, he did something almost nobody in the music business ever does. He gave the power away. Now I'm about to play this clip for y'all, but before I do, I just need y'all to like, leave y'all thoughts down below in the comment section, and subscribe. Let's get into it.
I ain't even need to look over a lot of names. You know what I'm saying? Once you know how to do what you do, you in the studio, I'll go uptown, around for a couple of hours, and then come back down, and if it's done, it's done. If outside of group projects, if it's doing dolo, then I ain't need to be there if they knew what they was doing. And Duke would be there too, already.
That's what led me into my next question. Would you enjoy doing more, being a CEO of your company or an artist?
It depends on what company you talking about. Like if you talking about
Dipset.
music.
Dipset, yeah.
I don't know. To me, I don't even look at it like that. It's like, for me, to be totally honest with you, I looked at it as we all kind of was learning how to be CEOs or how to be businessmen or how to deal with it, and Dame taught us a lot as well when we left Sony. So I thought it was just a good time until it wasn't. You know what I'm saying? We really had a good time. When you think about a lot of me, Zeke, and Joel's, and I'm not leaving Jim out on purpose and nothing like that. I'm just saying what's really happened. Like, we was going out of town. Like, we really lived in Ohio. Me, Zeke, and Joel had cribs in Ohio. We really lived in Chicago. So me, Zeke, and Joel's is really going state to state, living there, doing what we did when we got to them towns. I remember we was living in Ohio, we had a crib. We moved to Chicago, we had a crib. And we was like, all right, all this situation. Then we was going to Atlanta. And we was scouting Atlanta out. Me, Zeke, and Joel's, we was scouting all these towns out. So, we doing music in the process of all this, but at the same time, I didn't really look at it like, yo, CEO this, CEO that, even though that was the title. It's more like, let's have fun and get to this money and have a good time. And I'll go talk to these upstairs because I did have the ear of Dame or Biggs or Mike Kaiser, shout out to Mike Kaiser, or Kevin Lyles or Julie Greenwald or Leo Cohen or Tom Mont, whatever, the people who was overseeing the project. But yeah, it just was a good time.
Oh, well, you just talked about giving people labels or whatever. Did y'all do that just to make it seem like to the outside, like, yo, this like a real moving company, even though it was a moving company?
No.
Like, what was the titles for?
Titles as far as what? Labels?
No, when you said there wasn't like no CEOs or no.
Oh no, it was no. I didn't say it wasn't no CEOs. I didn't look at my like, yo, the CEO. You know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nah, it was definitely titles. You know, don't get that f***ed up. It was titles, but I ain't never looking like, yo, shut up. I'm the CEO of this. Da, 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 da. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I seen was this, right? And they just had a verse. Shout out to Master P. When I seen Master P, I think it was the movie Bout It he did. And he was the star, he was the director, he was the producer, he was the who owed the key grip, he was the who put the lens. You look at the credits, it say Master P, Master P, Master P. Then he switched up Percy Miller, Percy Miller. And I'm like, I'm not saying he ain't do all this. Is what I was thinking. I'm like, I ain't saying he ain't do all this. But goddamn, give somebody else a little bit of my credit. That's what I used to say when I see it. But you know, looking at Master P, like, why the f I give somebody else some credit when I did everything? You can ask, and you can ask whether me or not. I used to fight with to have. I used to tell Jim, yo, stop letting this direct the video. You direct the video, even though you know he got a learning process before he could do it by himself. But that was like a proud moment for me when we did the video. Hey man, you know, like back in the days on MTV where they show at the bottom the name of the song, the artist, the director, all that shit.
Yeah.
When everybody's name was on this is before we got the Diplomat. So the song was featuring, it was my song featuring Freaky Zeke and Joel Santana, directed by Jim Jones. And I'm like, that right there. I wanted everybody to get some shine. So it wasn't no smoke and mirrors or anything like that. You think about Jim. Jim was never signed to me, ever. Jim went off and went to Koch. I never wanted nothing from the Dame wouldn't give him a deal, and he went to Koch, and I don't even know how he got to Koch. You can ask him how he got there, but he's the one who discovered Koch and gave him and gave Koch that shine. He was the one who went over there. So I always wanted to get their own money so they didn't have to ask me for any and vice versa. And if I did need money, they had, and if they needed money, I had it. But I wanted to make their own money.
I heard Dame said he sent Jim over there on the interview. He said he sent him to Koch.
I'm not co-signing that. I'm not co-signing that. What I will say is this: Jim asked Dame for $1 million, and Dame said no. So Jim went to Koch. I can't see Dame saying, "Yo, I know about this label named Koch. Go over there." I don't know. You asked Jim that shit. But I know one thing, he asked Dame for $1 million. Dame said no, and he went to Koch. I don't remember Dame sending Jim to Koch, no.
Most leaders say they want to build an empire. But Cameron actually showed what it looks like to build one the right way. What stands out to me is the mindset. Cam could have easily controlled everything. He had the relationships. He had the leverage. He had the ear of powerful record executives. But instead of hoarding the spotlight and the money to himself, he helped everybody around him create their own income streams and their own financial independence. That's real leadership. That's long-term thinking, and that's how you build generational wealth instead of temporary success. A lot of artists want to be the only star. They want all the publishing. They want the executive title. They want all the credit. But Cam understood something deeper about business and ownership. Businesses that empower multiple leaders grow faster and last longer than businesses controlled by just one central leader. And that's exactly what Dipset became. They weren't just a rap group. They were multiple entrepreneurs moving as one unit. So let me ask you all this. Do you think Dipset would have made more money and stayed together if Cameron kept full control and acted like the CEO over Jim Jones and Joel Santana? Or do you think Cameron's decision to share the spotlight is the real reason Dipset became a multi-million-dollar empire that still holds value today? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. And make sure you like and subscribe. Peace.